Good morning and welcome to yet another online tutorial on microwaves and antennas. So we are discussing module 4 and we are discussing about short dipole, right? We are discussing about short dipole. So in yesterday's class, I introduced you a dipole. I told you what is actually a dipole and why do we need to consider the retarded parameters when we derive the field expression and all those steps I told, right? So what we had seen yesterday is, I even told you where are we going to place our dipole so that we can find general field expression of the dipole everywhere in the space, right? So we will start with that. Right. Today we'll straight away go ahead and derive the field expression. That's what we are going to do. Right. Give me a moment. So we have our z-axis, y-axis, x-axis, and y-axis. So we are placing our dipole. If you remember, we are placing our dipole along z-axis, right? Symmetric with respect to origin. So this is z equal to plus L by 2, and this will be actually what z equal to minus L by 2 with center at origin. That's how we are placing our dipole, right? And we are assuming this dipole is excited with some current I naught e power j omega t. This is the harmonic current with which the dipole is excited, right? And we have seen the effect generated at the dipole for it to travel a distance r, right? For it to travel a distance r, it takes some finite propagation time, right? It takes some finite propagation time. So in order to account for that propagation time, I told wherever, right, we are using any quantity, current, voltage, or whatever, right? So we should represent the retarded ones, right? The retarded ones which will consider the finite propagation time. So the retarded current, I can write I within square bracket, can be written as I naught e power j omega. What we have done is we have replaced t with t minus r by c. With this r by c is the propagation time, and I have even told you what is actually what the term omega r by c, its significance, its physical significance. What is that I told you, right? So now, of course, one more thing which we have seen, which will play a crucial role in this derivation is, we can represent this setup equivalently as actually what? A dipole with two charges plus q and minus q separated by a length L, right? Separated by a length L. So we can equivalently represent it. So what is the meaning of this is, right, even though it's a continuous conductor, volume of conductor, a cylindrical wire type thing, we can assume because of the capacitive loading, right? So we have two discs at ends of this, right? I've told that. So it provides capacitive loading, and because of the capacitive loading, we can assume the entire charge is assumed to be, we can assume it is accumulated at both the ends, top and bottom ends. In between, we can assume there is no charge, right? So this is equivalent, right? This is equivalent circuit, and so this q, right, this charge q is related to I as actually what? I will be dq by dt, right? So this I will be, this current I will be actually what? Dq by dt. Or else if I want to find out what is this q, that will be integral I dt, right? Integral I dt, I can assume 0 to t. Suppose the current started flowing at time t equal to 0, and if you want to see the charge accumulated at any time instance t, I have to integrate I from 0 to t, where I is this. So these are the things which we already know, right? Now what we need to do is we need to find out the field at this point, say P, right, r comma theta comma y, right? We don't know which components our electric field and magnetic field has, right? We have to find out that. That's what we have to find out. So for that, as what we have done in electromagnetic wave subject, right? We want to find field due to a line of charge. What I've done, you consider a very small differential element along the length, and you found the effect due to that. And if you integrate it over the structure, if it is a line, you integrate over a line. If it is a sheet, you integrate it over a sheet, right? If it is a volume, you integrate it over a volume, right? So that's what we are going to do now. So I'm going to consider a very small length of this, right? Very small length on this, right? So this length, it's actually what, say dz, right? So dz length, and we can assume as it is a conducting wire with circular cross section, right? It will have some volume dv, right? I'll call this as some volume dv. The height is dz, right? And it is at a distance of, I can assume it is at a distance of z from origin, right? I'm considering a differential element or differential element on short electric dipole with length dz, which is at a height z from origin, right? And instead of directly finding out what is the field due to this entire structure, I'll find the field due to this field or whatever, right, due to this, and if I integrate it over the entire structure, that will give me the a total field or potential or whatever I'm going to find, right? So I'm assuming the length, right, the length of this differential element from to the point P is S, right? Length of this differential element to the point P is S, and this, if you see, this S can vary from, right? So if it is a topmost point, this S will be equal to actually what I'm calling it S1 from top. S can vary from S1 to, and bottommost point, this will be equal to actually what, S2, right? So I hope you understood what is that we are going to see, right? So I've considered a very small element on this, so it has a length dz, and it will have a volume also, right? So consider a differential element along the conductor with length dz, right? And we can assume it has a volume dv. We can assume it has a volume dv. Now, due to this, we will find, due to this volume dv, we will find what is the, right? So what we will do is, instead of directly finding E and H, right? Instead of directly finding vector E and vector H, I told the approach what we'll be doing, we'll be finding actually what, V first, scalar electric potential, and vector magnetic potential, V and A first, right? So we'll first find this, and from V we'll find E, and from A we'll find H. So from V, I can find E as actually what, negative gradient of potential, and from A, I can find H as actually what, 1 by mu naught times del cross A. So this is what we'll be doing. So I need, due to this differential element, I need to find what is V. So in fact, it should be actually what, V within square bracket. It is a retarded potential, not the actual potential. Retarded potential. Retarded potential simply means we are considering the finite propagation time of the effect or electromagnetic radiation. That's it. And retarded, say, vector magnetic potential, right? So we have to find these two. So that is what we are going to find, right? So are you clear with these things? Right? Are you clear with the system model? Right? If right, are you clear with the system model? Please do type in. Please do type in if you are okay with the system model or not. At least if you know what is that we are going to do. So I'm going to write the expression for V and A, and from that I'll find E and H. That's it. That's what we are going to do. So general field expression of short electric dipole is what we are going to derive. Right. So please do respond if you are comfortable with the system model. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Right. I can see many responses. So I'll go ahead. Right. So I told you initially itself, study it along with me only. As and when I derive this, you study it along with me. Don't keep it for later. Right. So this is our system model. Right. So now, what I need to do is I need to write this. I'm writing now in dz, in length dz, that we have a volume, right? We have a volume, it has a volume of dV, as a differential volume, it will be dV. We don't know what is that, it has a differential volume dV, and it has a charge, right? It has a charge to actually what? Rho V into dV, where dV is the differential volume and rho V is the volume charge density. Volume charge density, you are familiar with volume charge density, right? Volume charge density in Coulomb per meter cube, right? So we are assuming in this dz, in this within this length dz defines a volume dv. Why? Because it has a circular cross section. So that cross section area and dz will give you the volume. We don't want to find out that, but I'm just telling, right? And it has at any given time, it has a charge dq given by rho v dv. And if you are thinking in terms of retarded charge, right? So charge, I should consider actually what retarded charge. Why? Because if there is a charge at any given time at this point, the field due to that charge will be experienced at some distance r after some time only. That's what the retardation effect. So that's why it is retarded charge that will be equal to actually what rho v into dv. Right. So now I need to find what is the. I'll redraw the diagram once again. Right, without any this. Right. So while redrawing the diagram, I'm using some assumption. Right. While redrawing the diagram, I'm using some assumption. Right. So this is our origin, and this is our a differential length. This is a differential length dz, and it has some volume dv. Right. So the point r, right, the point P is at a distance r from origin, right? And I'm assuming in this, when I'm redrawing it, I'm assuming this r is much greater than L. So this is L, right? Even though the diagram won't look like that, right? I'm assuming r will be much greater than L, right? If r is much greater than L, what I can assume is the radiation from each and every point on this, right? It will travel parallelly. So even though I have shown here they are converging at some point, right? So these ray S1, SR, S2 all are converging at this point P. Even though I have shown like that, if this distance r is very large compared to, if r is very large compared to L, then we can assume these rays to be actually what parallel to each other. We have done that while deriving the expression for array due to point charges. We have done that. So I am using that assumption now, right? Assuming r much greater than L. So this is r, and say this will be sorry, all these should be parallel, right? All these should be parallel. 1 second, give me a moment. If you have any doubt, please feel free to stop me and ask now itself, right? So this is actually our S, it's parallel, and this is our S1, it's again parallel, and this is our S2. All are parallel. I'm assuming all are parallel. So this is S, this is S1, and this is S2. And this much will be actually what? L by 2, and again this much will be L by 2. And this angle is actually theta, right? So is this angle, and so is this angle, and this angle theta, right? So now in this case you can see, right? In this case you can see, right? So if this is a perpendicular, right? S2 is longest, right? Length of S2 is longest, or radiation from the bottommost point of the dipole has to travel a distance S2 which is longer. So S2 is actually what? Greater than R. S2 is greater than R. And whereas S1, you can see it will be smaller than R. S1 will be smaller than R. Why? Because S1 has to travel only less distance. So I need to find out what is this difference. That we'll find out later. But for that, what I can do is I can draw a right angle triangle like this. Right angle triangle like this. So if this is X, right? If this is X, S2 can be written as S2 will be equal to R plus X. So S2 is X more compared to R, and similarly S1 can be, if this is actually what, this again will be X, and this again will be X, S1 can be written as R minus X. So we have to find out what is that we'll do later. But for the time being, I have a volume element, differential volume element here, right, of length dz, right, and it is causing some potential at this point. See, I'm calling it as actually what? Retarded potential dV, right? Retarded potential dV. We need to find out what is that, right? So I can write the retarded potential dV. Sorry, yeah. All of you are able to read, or should I increase this thickness? Or retarded potential dV. Right, it can be written as actually what is potential? You know, V is equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught r in free space. If you have a point charge, and if you want to find what is the right, you have a point charge. If you want to find what is the potential at a distance, r, right? So what is actually electrostatic potential or electric potential at some point? It is the work done in bringing a unit positive charge from infinity to that point. So that is actually what electrostatic potential. We have studied that. That is equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught r. Or where Q is the charge, right? So here the differential volume has some charge dq. So I can write it as actually what it is: dq divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, and distance is actually what? S. So 4 pi epsilon naught S. I can write it like this: dq is equal to dv is equal to dq by 4 pi epsilon naught S. Any doubt in this? I have written this. If anyone has any doubt, please feel free to ask me. Or if you understood and if you are able to accept it, please do let me know. Right. And by the way, I have seen a beautiful troll, or like a meme or a troll, whatever. It says it had my photo in it, and on some caption was written, "Are you able to appreciate?" But I used to ask that, right? Are you able to appreciate? Right. I'm asking that intentionally. Actually, I got that from one of my teachers, right, who taught me physics in my 12th standard. So, did anyone see that troll in this group? Right. Whoever has done that, right. I liked it. May know who was the creator. I'm not going to double anyone. Maybe okay, it's not fair asking who was the creator, but I liked it. Mahesh sir actually showed me yesterday. Right. It was nice. And other trolls also I have seen. Right. Okay, fine. So is it okay? Are you able to appreciate it? I have written the differential retarded potential due to that small element at some distance S as dq by 4 pi epsilon naught S. You have studied this in your electromagnetics, and you should be able to appreciate it. Right. Can I go ahead? Any doubt? Any doubt? Please do type in yes or no. At least 1 or 2 response if I get, I'll go ahead. It's very important. It's very important. Right. You will get a question for sure from this in university exam. Right. Okay, fine, great. So I'll move ahead. And at this point of time, I would like to tell you, if you want to say have a clear picture, right, a very wonderful explanation of these topics or antenna or electromagnetics, I would recommend you to go to YouTube and type the name Suresh VSR. Right. I don't know how many of you have seen his video. I was fortunate enough to sit in his class right after my BTech, right after my final exams of BTech. I went for a GATE crash course in Hyderabad ACE. So at that time he was teaching that subject. Now he is very famous in YouTube. He's brilliant, right? He never used to actually do lengthy derivations and all those stuff, but he'll tell you, right, practically what each and everything is as far as electromagnetic. It's very difficult to visualize electromagnetic. So I would request you to see his say videos, right? Especially if you are preparing for GATE or such stuffs, right? Electromagnetics and basics of antenna, this microwave, right? All those. Right? I'm his great fan. I think now he is working with an academy. I'm not promoting any actually what such coaching institutions, but he's wonderful. He's excellent, right? So I request everyone to watch that, so you will get a better idea. So how actually it radiates, why it's sine theta pattern, why cos theta, right? How it is dependent on omega. All those steps, if you want to know, I request everyone to watch that, right? So okay, with that we'll move ahead. So luckily we have the expression for differential retarded potential due to this element dz, right? So I can rewrite it as actually what dq can be written as rho v times dv divided by say s 4 pi epsilon naught. Sorry, 4 pi epsilon naught s. Where epsilon naught, you know, it's actually what permittivity of free space. Can anyone tell me what is the value of epsilon naught? Right, you can type it in chat window. Right, so I can write it like this. This is dV. That is due to this differential element. Now, right, if I want to find out the total potential, total retarded potential due to this entire dipole. So at any given time you take, the dipole will have some charge on it. Right, the dipole will have some charge on it. Right. So if I want to know what is the total potential to this dipole, right? I should integrate this EV over the entire structure, right? So you can see it's a volume, right? It's a cylinder, a solid cylinder, right? And it has some volume, right? So what I should do is I should integrate this differential quantity along the length of this volume. That's what I'm going to do now, right? That's what I'm going to do. As simple as that, right? So total potential, right? Total retardant potential. Total potential V, retardant potential V will be equal to, I can write this will be integral dV over the dipole, over the short dipole. So if you are seeing it as a line of charge or line, you can integrate, it will be a line integral. If you are seeing it as a surface, it will be a surface integral. But here it is a volume, so we should integrate it over this volume. And that's why I have written over the dipole. Right? Over the dipole, I should integrate this dV. Right? So when I'm integrating, you can see rho v, right? At each and every point, the volume charge density may not be constant. Rho v will be a function of, distance, right? So rho v will not be a constant. So rho v is not a constant, right? And also S will change if, right? It is this bottommost point S is equal to S2 and topmost point is equal to S1, right? So S also will change. So I can write this as the volume integral, right? Volume integral, right? Say rho v dV divided by 4 pi epsilon naught S, right? Rho v dV. But this dV, please don't get confused. It's actually what differential volume, right? D small v is differential volume and D capital V, it is actually what differential potential, right? Differential potential. Please don't have confusion. In your textbook, instead of dV, they have used d tau for differential volume. But normally, we are comfortable with V. Differential volume means dV, right? I don't want to deviate from that. But at the same time, please don't have actually what confusion between this D capital V. Capital V is actually what scalar electric potential. Small v, it's volume here, right? So please don't have confusion. I would like to make that clear, right? Next, what we have to do is, right, so it is rho v dV, so I can write it as potential is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught volume integral rho v, you know why I have written it in square bracket, rho v dV divided by S, rho v dV divided by S. So now, this volume integral rho v dV would have given me the total charge, But if you see, right, equivalently we can represent it like actually what, plus Q and minus Q, which means if you are dividing this into many such small regions, charge is concentrated only on top. There is a charge plus Q here and a charge minus Q here. And in between, rho v will be equal to 0. In between, rho v will be equal. I'll just explain it. This is one confusing part. In your textbook, they have done like this. This much they have done, right? This much they have done, and then they are writing, it can be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by S1 minus Q by S2. That's what they have written. That is the point where students will get confusion. So I would like to make it clear. So what you have to integrate? You have to integrate rho v by S over the entire volume. Right? You have to integrate rho v by S over the entire volume. So your entire volume is this. Right? So what is integration actually? So you can divide it into actually what, many small segments. You can divide it into many small segments. Right? Many small segments, and say this is the point. So extreme points are S1 and S2. So in between there will be actually what, as you move S will change, right? S will change, and also rho v will change. As you move S will change and rho v will change. What you have to do is you have to integrate rho v by S over the entire volume. So you can assume the thickness as D is very small, as D is much less compared to L, right? So over the cross section you can assume volume charge density is same, right? Only with respect to length it changes, you can assume, right? So in this case, right, what will happen? So you can see rho v will be equal to 0 in between, right? Rho v will be 0 equal to in between, and entire charge is concentrated, right? Entire Using this equivalent representation, I am telling entire charge is concentrated at ends. At ends in the sense there is a plus q on top and minus q on bottom, right? So the total charge will be what? Total charge rho v dv is dq. So you have to integrate dq by s, right? dq by s. This is what you have to integrate. So dq at this end is actually what? It is plus q, and dq at this end is minus q. So dq by s will be actually what? Q by s1, and dq by s for this topmost point will be actually what? Q by s1, and dq by s for bottommost point will be minus q by s2. So I'm calling it equation number 2 or 3. Please give continuous number. So equation number 2, with this idea I'm going to rewrite as, right? So this is a general expression. So if it is any other distribution, right? If you can't approximate the structure like this, right? So this is a general expression using which you have to find V, right? But in this particular case, for a short dipole, I can equivalently represent it like this, and because of that reason alone, right, I can write the potential. I can write the potential as, right, I can write the potential as B is equal to, I can write 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 by S1 minus Q2 by S2, right? Q1 by S1 minus Q2 by S2. So what are we doing? We are integrating dq by s, integral of dq by s, right? So integral of dq by s. So in between the charge is 0, only at ends we have. So what we integration is nothing but what you have to break it down into small fragments and add everything. It's actually what? Continuous summation. Integration is nothing but what? Summation of each and everything, each and every segment, contribution due to each and every infinitesimal segment, right? So that's why we are able to write this. So I'm writing it as equation number 3, right? So now I would like to pause here for some time, and I would like to ask if you have any doubt in this. Again, what was given in that role, are you able to appreciate? Right, same thing I would like to ask. Right. Are you able to accept it? Shall we move forward with this? Are you able to accept the potential? Right. That's why I told this equivalent representation will play a very, very important role in our analysis. Right. So this is possible only because of that capacitive plates I told, right? So we have to provide capacitive loading. We are assuming for the short dipole we are providing capacitive loading. So because of capacitive loading, at any given time instance, the current along the length will be uniform. Current will not be a function of distance or z. And also we can assume it has an equivalent dipole with plus q and minus q separated by a distance. So because of that, the potential, so it's actually what? Simply superposition, right? So the potential, maybe I'll just, right, I'll just put it in a slightly different way, right? So we have a structure like this, plus q and minus q. So potential at some point will be actually what? Potential due to charge 1, that will be q by 4 pi epsilon naught S1. So if this is S1, q by 4 pi epsilon naught S1. And potential here will be actually what? Q by minus q by 4 pi epsilon naught S2. If you add these two things, you will get it. So that is a simple way to tell that, right? But right, why I have told, I've given this particular expression is, I told the short electric dipole, it practically is not feasible, right? We are studying this. Why? Because we can extend the same method to analyze any other practical thin linear antennas, right? So to find the potential of any other practical thin linear antenna, you have to use this, and it may have charge density in between, right? You have to find the expression for charge density in terms of the current. So that's what we have to do. Why I have written Q1 and Q2? It should be Q and Q. Okay, both are Q. Q1 and Q2 is not there. Both would be Q. It's plus Q and minus Q. So Q and Q. Right. Excuse me. It's not Q1 and Q2. Q and Q. Right. So now I need your response. At least some of you please respond. Whether are we okay to go ahead? Right. Why I am discussing this with this much patience is, in textbook they have not written anything. They have not given any explanation. They have straight away written. So when you are studying for exam, you may actually find it little bit confusing. So that's why. Shall we move ahead, please? Whom should I ask? Okay, Franchita. Are we
Yes,
okay with this? Any doubt?
sir. Can you please once again explain from that rho v dv by s integration over the volume? So after that, next point can
Sure,
you
sure,
explain?
sure. Okay. Fine. So maybe this term is what confusing you, right? This term is what is confusing you. Integral rho v dv, how all of a sudden it became this, right? All of a sudden how it became this. That is
Yes,
what is
sir.
confusing you, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, Francita?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. I'll explain. I'll explain it in a simpler way, right? So I initially, and I wanted to follow the actual method, right? So that you can apply it to anything. Right? Now, simply what we are trying to do is you have something, you have some solid, right? And I'm dividing it into actually what? Many small differential elements, right? And I can assume each element has a charge dq, right? Each element has a charge dq, and I want to find potential at some point, right? Potential at some point, say r from the center of this structure, right? Potential at some point r from the center of the structure, right? So, and this distance, say it is actually what, s1, and this distance is actually what, say s2, and in between we will have say different s. In between we will have different s. So what we need to find is, I need to find, I have dv is equal to, or else I'll write 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, dv is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught dq divided by s, right? Where this s is a general point, right? So this is the differential length if I'm considering. S is actually what, say distance of the point r from this differential length, right? So dv is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught dq divided by s. Are you able to, are you okay with this, Pranchita?
Yes, sir.
This is okay, right? So now if I have to find the total potential at this point, what I should do? I should find potential due to segment 1, I should find potential due to segment 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. up to actually what, n, right? That is what we have to do. So what I should do is I should, right, total potential will be summation, say summation I from say 1 to n. I can write summation I from 1 to n. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is a constant. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught summation I from 1 to n dqi divided by si. So the contribution due to dq1 will be actually what, dq1 by s1, dq2 will be dq2 by s2, so on and so forth. So say I'm calling it as sn for time being, right? So this is distance of first segment from the first segment to the point r, and this is distance of n segment to the point r. So are you able to accept it? This is how we can find out. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So now this summation, it's actually what is continuous charge distribution. It's not actually what discrete. It's continuous charge distribution. So the summation will become actually what, integration. Are you able to appreciate that? So V will be equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral, and over this volume, this will become actually what, a volume integral. Integral over this volume dq divided by s, right? Integral over this volume dq divided by s, right? Are you able to accept that? How this integral, how we got this integral?
Yes, sir.
So this is the general case. If you want to go ahead and find out potential due to any very long practical thin linear antennas, you have to use this particular one, right? You have to use this particular one, right? But fortunately or luckily or what, this structure we can approximate it as this, right? This structure we can approximate like a dipole. I can write the equivalent representation like this. I told you in the first class itself. In this equivalent representation, I can assume the entire charge is concentrated in the first and last segment, right? Entire charge is concentrated in the first and last segment. No charge in between. In between, there is no charge. Did I tell this in the first class? Francita, sorry for asking questions back to back. Right, if you respond, I'll be able to understand. You people are able to appreciate. Right? Did I tell this? We can
Yes,
equivalently
sir.
represent it like this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In that also no doubt, right? You are able to
No doubt.
accept that, right? So
Yes, sir.
okay. So now, what will happen to the summation or integration? So what it basically what it says is we have charge only in the first and last segment, right? First segment has a charge, say Q, right? First segment has a charge Q, and last segment has a charge actually what? Minus Q. And distance is actually what? This is S1, and let this be S2 as per our, right? As per our this whatever figure I have drawn initially to derive, this is S1 and S2. So this summation will become actually what? It will reduce to, right? It will reduce to Q by S1 minus Q by S2. Whether the summation will reduce to this? Franchita?
Yes, sir.
So now you got how we got this?
Yes, sir, I understood.
Right. What about others? Right. This is actually a little bit confusing, and especially right. I don't have my, maybe it can be because of my command over language or whatever. Right. So it's a bit confusing. Right. Maybe it's my mistake. It's not your mistake if you didn't understand. But thank you so much for asking the doubt. Right. Please feel free to ask the doubt. Then only I'll be able to explain it in slightly different way. Right. So are we okay with this? Right. Now shall we move ahead? Okay, fine. Yeah. So now, so again, so that's what we have. So retardant potential, what we have is retardant potential due to this differential element is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught retardant charge divided by S1 minus retardant charge divided by S2. But what we need is, I need it in terms of actually what, do we know what is Q? Do we know what is Q? I don't know what is Q. So I have a dipole like this, which is excited with some source I naught e power j omega t, right? I know that, and I know the length is L, right? And maybe I know what is R. I don't know what is S1 and S2. So this Q we don't know. We don't know what is S1. We don't know what is S2. Right, these things we don't know. So now what I need to do is I need to rewrite this Q, S1 and S2 in terms of actually what? Rewrite in terms of non-quantities. Right, I have to rewrite in terms of non-quantities. Right, in terms of non-quantities. That is what I have to do now. Right. So, for instance, S1 and S2 I should write in terms of actually what? R and theta, and Q I should write in terms of actually what? Retardant current. That's what I have to do. So first we'll write how this Q can be written. So we know this Q is equal to, I told, integral 0 to t I dt. I have to integrate. Suppose the current started flowing from time t equal to 0, and at any given time t, how much charge is accumulated? If I want to know that, I should integrate the current from 0 to t. Right, I should integrate the current from 0 to t. This is an assumption. I'm assuming the current started flowing from time t equal to 0. Right. So it's okay to assume that. Why? Because it's up to us which is time t equal to 0. If someone is telling no, current started flowing at time t equal to minus 5 seconds, then okay, so conveniently I'll make t equal to minus 5 as 0. Right. So it's up to us. So this is how we'll do. That is how math works. Right. It's not math works, that's how mathematics works, right? So Q is integral I dt. So what actually is this integral 0 to t? I is nothing but what? I naught e power j omega t minus r by c. Not r, here I should use s, in fact, right? I should be using s, I'll be using s. Why? Because we are dealing in terms of the current at the differential, like so s by c dt. Right, s by c dt. So what is integral of e power j omega t? Integral e power j omega t dt is actually what? E power j omega t divided by j omega. Right. So similarly, I can write this is equal to 1 by j omega times I naught e power j omega t minus s by c. That's it. This omega s by c, it doesn't have any actually what? E power j omega s by c, it is independent of t. So we don't have to bother about that. So this is 1 by j omega I naught e power j omega t minus s by c. Right. So or else I can write it as actually what? Conveniently I can write it as in phasor. This is equal to actually what? Oh sorry. In phasor I can write it as I divided by j omega. Right. So I can write Q is equal to I divided by j. So luckily q I could write. So q I could write in terms of I. So we are right. We accomplished that mission. Right. I could write q in terms of I. So I know what is I naught. I naught is the maximum amplitude. I know what is the frequency. What is S and C, R and C. We can right. We know that. Right. S is actually the distance from that given point. So that again we can assume it's known. Right. But if I can write it as actually what R by C. Right. Whatever. So now that is known. Now I need to express S1 and S2 in terms of actually what? R and theta. If I can do that, then our work is done. Right. So for that, I'm assuming this is our right. So this is S1 and this is say S2 and this is R, right? And if you draw a perpendicular here, right? So you can see this angle is theta. This angle is theta, right? This angle is theta, right? You can see S2 will be equal to S2 will be, and this much. This length is actually what? This length is L by 2, and this also is actually what? L by 2. S2 will be R plus X. S2 will be R plus X, and S1 will be R minus X. So we need to find what is this X. What is this X? That is what we have to find out. So if I redraw this right angle triangle, so this is right angle. Okay, this is right angle. This is right angle. If I redraw that, both are identical triangles. Both are identical triangles. If I redraw the right angle triangle, right? So this is X, and this is L by 2. This is L by 2, and this angle is actually what? Theta. This angle is theta. So what will be cos theta from this? Cos theta will be adjacent side divided by hypotenuse, right? So x will be equal to L by 2 times cos theta. X will be equal to L by 2 cos theta. So I can straight away write S1 is equal to R minus L by 2 cos theta, and S2 is equal to R plus L by 2 cos theta. And of course we got right. So we all the unknowns right we have written in terms of non-quantities. So now we are on a safer side. And of course I could write Q is equal to actually what? 1 by j omega times I naught e power j omega t minus R by C or S by C. Right. So R by C you can write. So that's one. So now what we have to do is right. So we should rewrite, apply these things in this. That is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, right? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Q is actually what? Q is say 1 by j omega. So I am taking that j omega common out. So in both cases, j omega will be there. 1 by j omega I am taking common out. Right? Please do keep in mind. Then I naught also is common in both the cases. So I am taking I naught is also a constant, right? I naught also I am taking common out. Then what I have is e power j omega t minus, in first case s is equal to s1, t minus s1 by c divided by s1, t minus s1 by c divided by s1 minus e power j omega t minus s2 by c divided by s2, right? So our V becomes like this. So this I naught and 1 by j omega I have taken out as it is common in both the cases. So I naught by j omega s1, I naught by j omega s2. So I naught by j omega I have taken out as common. Right. So this is what we have. Right. So then what we have to do is we have to substitute for S1. So in this you have to substitute S1 is equal to R minus L by 2 cos theta. So S1 will become in terms of R, L and theta, we know everything, and S2 is equal to R plus L by 2 cos theta. I am not doing that, right? So please, so there is in numerator we have S1 and denominator also S1, numerator S2, denominator also S2. You have to substitute that, so you will get expression for V, and if you substitute that expression for V, you will get right. So that is the final expression for V. So we have now V in terms of actually what we have now V in terms of R, theta and phi. We have now V in terms of R, theta and phi. And of course, this L, I naught, all those things are constants, right? L, I naught, L is the length of the dipole, and I naught is the peak current, right? And all those things are constant, right? So I have a small request. Can I take, say, 5 minutes extra? All of you, if you can please respond, right? Can I take 5 minutes extra? I'll just write down till the field expression. Otherwise, in next class, I'll have to repeat everything. Would that be fine? Till 10:55, can I take? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Fine, thank you. Right, so if you substitute that, I can find out E, vector E will be equal to actually what? Minus gradient of potential, right? Minus gradient of actually what? Retarded potential. So this is in actually what? Spherical. This is in spherical. Anyone remember what is the gradient expression in spherical? Right. So I'm not actually what wasting time. So for that, right, for any in generalized curvilinear coordinate system, if you want to remember the expression for curl, gradient, all those steps, right? If you remember this table, it would be easy. You might have studied this: H1, H2, H3, U, V, and W. Right. In Cartesian, this H1, H2, H3 are 1, 1, 1, and U, V, W are actually what? X, Y, and Z. The references are X, Y, and Z axis, and H1, H2, H3 are 1, 1, 1. And in cylindrical it is 1, rho 1, and it is rho phi and Z. And similarly in spherical, it is 1, R and R sine theta, and the coordinates are R, theta, and phi. So the general expression for del of V, in generalized curvilinear coordinate system will be, I can write as 1 by H1 times dou by dou U of V along AU cap, right? But AU cap will be in terms of actually what? Spherical, U will be R. So it will be 1 by 1 dou by dou R of V times AR cap, right? Plus 1 by H2 dou by dou V. Please don't confuse this dou V. This V is actually what? As a general coordinate axis I have used V, right? So please don't get confused with actually what are capital V or V in italics volume, right? V along AV cap plus 1 by H3 dou by dou W of V along AW cap. So if you write it in spherical, right? If you write it in spherical, it will be actually what? More clear. So del V in spherical is actually what? Del of V in spherical is 1 by H1 is actually what? H1 is 1. So 1 by 1 is 1. So dou by dou U of V, it will become actually what? Dou by dou R of V along AR cap plus 1 by H2. H2 is R. So it is 1 by R dou by dou theta of V along A theta cap plus 1 by R sine theta dou by dou phi of V along A phi cap, right? 1 by R sine theta dou by dou phi of V by along A phi cap. So you can see it's actually a vector, right? So this will be actually what? ER. This will be ER. In fact, it will be actually what? Minus ER. Why? Because E is negative gradient of potential. So it will be minus ER, negative of R component. And this will be actually what? Negative of theta component, right? And this will be negative of pi component. And if you inspect our field potential expression, right? In this potential expression, we have R. Right, we have R, we have theta. Do we have any phi term? No phi term is there. Why? Because this entire thing is symmetric with respect to phi. Right. So this is symmetric with respect to phi. The setup is actually what? Symmetric with respect to phi. So there is no phi term. So straight away I can write E phi will be 0. E phi term will be equal to 0. No phi term. No phi in retarded potential, or retarded potential is independent of phi. So if you have a conductor and anywhere around this, right, at a constant radius from this conductor, if you see, the potential will be same, right, because of the symmetry involved. So because of symmetry, it doesn't have any phi component. E phi is 0. So we have to find only this actually what? ER and E theta. It's simple. So you just substitute the value of V here and derive. But only I'm not going to do that. And even for exam, you don't have to do that, right? But it's easy. It's not a very complicated thing. You should be able to differentiate f of x by g of x, right? Why? Because r d by d, it's a function of r, and r is both in numerator in an e power j omega term, and in denominator, right, r minus something. So it will be f of x by g of x. If you know how to differentiate f of x by g of x, That part is done. I'm not going to do that, right? But what I'll do is instead I'll straight away write the result, right? And this result, right, as such, it's very right. It's not. It makes some. It has got some physical significance, and because of that, you won't have to by heart it, right? You won't have to by heart it, right? It has some physical significance. With that, you will be able to remember it, right? So I'll write now ER, radial component of electric field, will be, right? You can see it's dependent upon I naught. It's dependent upon I naught. So the more the current, the more will be field, and it dependent upon L, right? The more the length, more charge will be accumulated. So field will be more, and it is proportional to cos theta. What is meant by cos theta? So if the dipole is kept like this, right, this is theta equal to 0, this is theta equal to 90 degree. So the field ER component will be actually what? The pattern will be like this. Pattern of ER will be like this. Maximum will be along theta equal to 0, and as you increase theta to 90 degree, it decreases, and again it increases, right? So it is proportional to cos theta, and of course, right, we have this e power j omega t minus r by c. Right. So what we can do is that we can approximate that S1 and S2 to be equal to R in the last expression. Right. You can approximate S1 and S2 to be equal to R in the last expression, as the length is very small. Right. Only in the last expression. In between, if you approximate that, then it will become a point charge. Right. So don't do that. At the end only approximate. So I'm writing it as e power j omega t minus R by c, where this R by c is the propagation time. Right. Divided by 2 pi epsilon naught, 2 pi epsilon naught, where epsilon naught is the permittivity, and it has two terms, right? 1 by c r square plus 1 by j omega r cube, right? 1 by c r square and 1 by j omega r cube. So this is ER, this is ER, and similarly E theta, right? Similarly E theta expression will be, right? Numerator is, right? So it's dependent on I naught, it's dependent on L. But E theta component, it is proportional to sine theta, right? So that is the difference. So first difference between ER and E theta expression is ER is proportional to cos theta, E theta is proportional to sine theta. Please do keep that in mind, right? Then there is a reason why it is proportional to sine theta and all, right? But today I may not discuss, but tomorrow of course I'll discuss it. E power j omega t minus R by c divided by, if here it is 2 pi epsilon naught, right? This part is exactly half of that. It is actually what? 4 pi epsilon naught in E theta. So this is another difference, 2 and 4. Then here, right, so this 1 by CR square plus 1 by j omega r cube, those terms are already there. Apart from that, we have an additional term, that is actually what? J omega divided by c square r. Apart from that, I have an additional term, j omega divided by c square r. So that is the difference. Those are the only three differences. Right. So you can see if I naught is more, there will be more charge accumulated, so field will be more. That is obvious. And if L is more along the length L, if L is more charge can be actually what accumulated along a length. So it is proportional to L. Right. And of course it's actually what proportional to, right? We have 1 by R square and 1 by R cube term. Right. So here 1 by R, 1 by R square and 1 by R cube term. So if you see an antenna field, right? So now those who want to leave can leave, not a problem. What I'll do is I'll just continue. I'll write the expression for the far field pattern again, and I'll post it. Right, those who want to leave now can leave, and you can watch it in YouTube. Right, not a problem. Right, already I've taken 5 minutes extra. I don't want to stop it here. If I just complete that, I think that would be fine. Or else should I stop here? Maybe I think I'll stop here. Tomorrow we'll start with this. Right, I won't repeat anything tomorrow. Right. From this point I'll start and I'll straight away obtain the far field pattern. So far field, so that's what I'll do. So maybe now we'll wind up the session. Right? For the time being, we'll wind up the session. Thank you so much for your patient listening. Right? We'll wind up the session. Right? Fine. All of you can leave. If any doubt is there, you can stay back and ask. Otherwise, you can leave. And sorry, I have taken 5 minutes extra. Manish, you have any doubt?
Sir. Yes, sir. But it is not related to this, sir.
Okay.
I just want to verify the theory, sir. Like in DC, sir, example, like digital communication.
Oh, okay. Just 1 second. I'll take it offline.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fine.
Or you can